joining the live stream. So hopefully today's topic is going to be an interesting one for you. I hope you get a lot out of these group meetings and so on, where you can pick my brain and ask me the questions that I can only share with you what I know. So bear that in mind. I don't have every answer, but anything that I don't know, of course, in my time with Suella or Spirit, I will ask them and put those questions to them. What I actually feel about the first one being in regards to babies and children that have passed over, one beautiful thing about their passing is they're never alone. They are not like, even if they are the first one in the family to be on the other side, they are not alone. Basically, they are always looked after by angels. They've got a lot more angels around them than as an adult. We still have angels, but we don't have as many. And so, of course, once they have, they might have like a certain part of learning to achieve, and they're called away. Now, some people say it's really unfair to bring a baby into the world and then take them, for whatever reason, whether it be an accident, whether it be something else. Believe it or not, the path is already mapped out, and they have a certain amount of time that is here. We all do. That's like, we can't say that we're going to be here tomorrow. Many of us may not be. Many of people that we know and love, friends, we may get a phone call or a message tomorrow to say someone that we know or have had knowledge of has passed away. And that person, when their time is up, their time is up. Nothing is going to stop that crossing. And that's the same with children and babies. Now, of course, hi Crystal, of course, it's something that we never want to face up to. I mean, I've been there. I've lost a son. It's not a nice thing to go through. It is a really painful experience. No matter how prepared you are, no matter what the circumstance, it is always something that no parent, the old saying is, no parent should have to bury their young. But it is a fact of life that our past is already mapped out. Now, sometimes there are, I've heard people say to me, Karen, why does God let this happen? Now, I'm going to clear something up here. Have you ever thought that sometimes, for whatever bad things happen in our life or in the world, it's not God. It's not God's doing. See, God will save those souls, but there's always the devil. And sometimes the devil, he wants to turn everyone against God. This is number one. So, of course, what better way to do it than through something, like a pet or a loved one or a child that's, you see them suffering and everything, and you think, how much more can they endure? And sometimes I have known parents who have just prayed that their suffering end, that, okay, they've accepted, they've come to the acceptance that this is their time, and they just want God to take them peacefully. But I tell you what, this is something you should all be aware of. The devil's fighting for our souls. On the day of everyone's passing, he's fighting to take our soul with him, because he wants to take as many with him as possible. And if he can turn one person against God or against faith, he will do it. And it could be that you'll lose faith in God. You will start to be angry at him. You'll start to blame him. You'll start to say you don't exist. You're not there. But that's what the devil wants, you see. And a lot of us play into his hands. But with babies and the children, one thing that you can be assured of is the angels are a lot closer, and they're ready to take that soul quickly to avoid that certain type of, experience. Now, some, of course, you could understand the physical body will go through certain experiences. I actually had a client, and without saying who they are, and I don't know whether they're in the live stream, but they had a situation where their son was riding on one of those three-wheeler bicycle things, and he was outside. They were overseas, of course, and it turned out that this particular day there was I don't know whether there was like a bank robbery or something, and what had happened was the people who were driving the getaway car, they came flying around the corner and collected the little boy on his little tricycle thing, threw him into the air. It was that quick that he didn't comprehend what had happened, and from what they explained, he was trying to feel for his head. His head was all smashed in and everything like that, but his physical reactions were like knowing that there was something happening to his head. So the soul was already technically in transition because it was so quick. It was in transition. So it's like some people go into a shock. Some people have certain things happen where, I actually once saw a dog that was hit by a car. It ran over its head, and its head was flat on the ground, and it was trying to pull itself up. It was horrible, absolutely horrible. But the thing is, with the physical body, it will go through certain reactions, but the actual soul is already past. It's not an easy topic for me to talk about because I do see a lot of babies and a lot of children that come to see me. So it's not easy, but I can understand you wanting to know about this. I know that many of you have probably got many questions around the same topic, and the same thing is that these spirits, these souls, many of them are protected. I think a lot of it also comes down to the parents as well. Sometimes, depending on the parents, if they are really bad people, they can endanger the soul of their young one. You know, if they're sitting around the house messing about with like Ouija boards, or messing about with things that they shouldn't get involved in, they can endanger their kids. That's number one. They can be putting them at risk. If anything happens to that child or that baby, they can actually be inviting that devil into their home who is waiting to take that baby, which means the fight is massive. And sometimes it looks like the child or the baby is going through a lot. That's because their soul is being fought over, as you can understand. I don't know what else to tell you except for the many that, I've had occasions, especially at cemeteries. It's been a while since I've been to a cemetery because of the fact that it is a very emotional thing for me. It is not something that is really, it's not always easy, because especially when you have children and they're wandering around waiting for their parents to turn up just to see them, but they're not seeing them, they're visiting the grave. And whenever I'll give you an example, whenever you actually hear crows crowing, especially in cemeteries, it's usually because there are souls crying. I actually recorded one day, I was in the cemetery and I was recording a discussion I was having with one of these spirits, who was one that I had actually grown up with, Larry. And a young female spirit went by crying, and it's never easy whenever anyone cries. I mean, I'm a big softie, and I often feel like crying when I see a child crying, or I see an older person crying, or anybody. I mean, it's not something you want to witness, and especially if you're an emotional or a very sensitive type of person, you then pick up on those emotions, and they can make you feel what they're going through. So I didn't realize at the time, but I actually caught her crying, and you could hear the crows going nuts. You could hear them making so much noise and everything like that. And it's one thing that I, when I was replaying it back, and I thought, that's so common that, I didn't even, it didn't occur to me until replaying that, because I mean, I've heard them a lot of times crying. Where's my mum? Where's my dad? Why aren't they coming to see me? Or, and I'm not by any means doing this to make anyone feel guilty, because they will still, if you don't go, eventually they'll go looking for you, and usually they will go and they'll find you. So they've got a way of finding you. Don't ever think that if you move, they're not going to be able to find you. They'll find you, because there's always a way. But when they're used to someone going to a cemetery, as an example, and they are often being visited, and then after a while, people, they do move on. And because that soul has been so accustomed to a weekly visit or a daily visit or every second day or every other day, they wait. Not because they haven't moved over to the other side. They have, but it's their connection. It's their time of connecting with their loved ones. So many people have experienced, and I'm sure many of you who have been to a cemetery to see a loved one, you've had this funny kind of like a peacefulness, like a feeling of connection that's sort of like, you know that you're there, but you sort of are disconnected to things going on around you. Even if it's a second, that second feels the connection to that soul. And hi Jamie, Jasmine, Kim. So that connection with that soul is there. It's present, and all it takes is a split second, and that's enough for that soul. And then of course they have to go back. But when they are used to having someone visit, I've seen occasions where I've seen them pacing around. Okay, now look what's happened to my phone. I just said pacing, and I've got this turning up. I don't know what happened then. Okay, I have some really weird things happen here. So what they do is, I've seen them pacing where they've been waiting for their loved ones or their family to come and visit them, because they've been so used to it. So one thing that I, like when I have a loved one who has passed on, I explain to them, now you can come and visit me, but I can't always come here because I'm busy or I've got other things, that I've got to do. See, the soul knows life goes on here. They know that it doesn't just stop and you've got to resort to being miserable and stuff like that. They know that to be honest with you, they're actually happier seeing you carrying on as though nothing's really changed, but you're still able to connect with them in some way by either acknowledging them or by thinking about them. It still gives them that connection. So this is really important. If you want that soul to be happy, especially when it comes to children as well, don't change anything. Don't start getting miserable. I know it's easier said than done, but don't fall into depression. Make sure that you're maintaining a happy level You know, it's okay to laugh. You should give yourself permission to be happy, because in order for you, the old saying is, a happy parent, happy child. Okay, think of it. It still happens the other way around, even on the other side. If you are miserable, if you are going through depression, if you are, you know, not being a part of anything anymore because you just want to give up because that child's no longer there, they don't want that for you. They feel it. And then with children, you've got to think of the way they comprehend things. It's my fault they're like that. It's my fault, you know. So, and I've had the spirits of children say, why is my mummy and daddy so sad? How come mummy and daddy aren't together anymore? It's my fault, because when I left, when I had to go, they weren't happy anymore. And they blame themselves. And then you've got to try and explain to them, no, it's not your fault. You know, things happen, things change, whatever. So, hi Romana. So just keep that in mind. If you've got someone who is a friend, for example, who's gone through that loss, or someone that you know may need to hear this, I feel it's really important to assure them that, you know, they've got to be strong. I know it's as easier said than done. If it was that easy, everyone would be doing it. And look, I've fallen myself. I've fallen into that, but I soon snapped out of it. Especially when my son said to me, "Why are you doing this? You know, is it me? Is it because of me?" And I was, no. Well, I'm sad because you're not here. You know, of course my heart's broken. And he said, "But I'm still here. Just do what you would do if I were here. Be as you would if I were here. That would make me feel happier." So I said, okay. And I did. I carried on. I don't know what the question mark is, Ruth. You've got a question mark in a square box turning up. I don't know what that is. Did you have a question? Does anyone have a question? So if anyone's got questions, feel free to ask. Oh, it's a hand wave, sorry. It's coming up on my phone as a question mark. Okay, so hopefully you can all understand that that it's really important to just continue. The minute you begin, what's today's live on? Okay, well, today's live stream, for those who have turned up late, is based on, as our last vote was put up, that's what we base each live stream on. So if you're not sure about what the live streams are based on, just have a look at what the vote is. There's always a poll that's on the page. And the poll that was suggested by many of you was to do with babies and young children that have passed. And of course, it actually tied with mini readings. So instead of actual mini readings, what I might do is the honest answer. So if you know, when I give you the go ahead, if you can, okay. So if when I give you the go ahead, if you can put up your questions, I'll tell you when to sort of like wait until I get through particular ones, and then I move on. So Francois says, so much easier said than done to move on. That's what I just said. But if it makes our bubs happier to see us a little happier, then we should try. This is from a mother of 11 babies. Wow. So it is important. It's so important. And I'll just tell you something else in regards of 11 babies. I guarantee it's just the one. There are certain times where a soul will, if it doesn't quite make it into this world, then it will come back when the time is right. So it is, you know, like many people say, oh, I've, you know, miscarried, or I've lost so many babies and so on. That soul can return, especially if it's a baby. That's one thing you'll find. So okay, so I don't know about Alfie, to be honest. If that's something on TV, I don't watch TV. So I don't know what you mean, to be honest, Rowena, but it is, I mean, it's not a nice thing. I don't think there's any easy way to say that having a child or a baby lost is easy. It's not. I mean, as I said, I've been there myself with my son, but he's actually watching over my daughters, and there are occasions where like there was one time my daughter, my middle daughter in particular, I don't know why he's very close to her, maybe because before she came into this world, he left this world. But he's very, very close to her, very connected. And there was one time she was actually in her room, and she said she felt someone go past her or brush past her, and then all of a sudden the light went out. So I said, it's probably your brother, you know. Sure enough, there was one time she was washing up, she saw this white figure go like behind her from where the window is, and because there's no curtain there, and she said it was a male. And I said, well, it's probably your brother. You know, like when she went overseas, I asked him to watch over her. He said, it's already done. I'm already there. I'm already watching her. I'm watching over her. So, okay, what's happening? Don't know where. I was looking at the wrong live stream. I'm thinking, oh, that looks all different. So I'm trying to follow the live stream here on Facebook on the browser, and I've got it here as well, just in case one's more ahead than the other. Can they return as a relative, nephew or niece? Well, usually they will, if that person is past childbearing years, as an example, then yes, they can actually return as like a grandchild, or, you know, a niece or what have you. But, you know, if that person is past that stage and, you know, that was their last chance of having a baby, or, you know what I mean, then technically that soul just basically waits, or they can. I mean, it's up to them. It's not up to us. It is definitely up to that soul. It's a choice. So sometimes they prefer to just wait, so that when that person, you know, goes to the other side, they're there to greet them. So especially if that person's been aching for that particular baby or what have you, then they will present themselves. Many of them that have actually come to me, the ones that say, I don't have a name, I know they're miscarriages or either abortions, or they just didn't have anyone give them a name, and so they will say, can you give me a name? And I don't really want to do that because I don't feel it's my place. So I will then say to them, what name do you like? So technically they're choosing their own name. But yeah, they can actually come back as, you know, I mean, there are times where you'll start to see little things that may be very similar in personality, and that may be a case of crossing that soul that's been around. So for example, if there's one that left this world as a, you know, an older child, so to speak, but they're still a child technically, and they've been around the family at the time where this new soul's entering the world, they may have crossed that path or crossed by that soul. My dog's so noisy. Crossed by that soul, which has taken either a personality trait or even appearance, you know, as part of their looks or what have you, and brought that into the world. So when they're born, you might think, gee, they're so much like, you know, so and so, like Bob or whatever. So that's where that trait has been collected. When they've come into this world, that soul's probably been around, and of course, there you go. They've got a part of their hi Rowan. They've got a part of their personality, or you know, their looks and so on. So hopefully that's explained what you need to know about, you know, babies and children's souls. Don't worry, they do actually go on to the other side, but the important thing is just make sure you're doing everything you can to do the right thing, because if, for example, you are a parent now and this particular incident comes out of the blue, if you can see it from this perspective, we are technically in hell. Okay, no other way to put it. We are basically in what they refer to as hell, because if you think back, even in the Bible, the devil was cast down to earth to walk until the end of time, and his minions, or the other angels that followed him, had this idea that he wanted to be just as powerful and as, you know, important as God. And yet he's very, very evil. But the thing is too, the devil can be very compassionate, and I know that sounds really, really hard to believe, but he can be very compassionate because of the fact that he will give the illusion he cares. And it's when he then turns, because if he feels like there's a threat of losing somebody, the claws go in. And this is where, you know, technically speaking, if you're a parent and you can at least give your kids an option of, you know, praying before they go to sleep, or even if you can do that for them, if you aren't overly religious, you could just, you know, as you're giving them a kiss goodnight, just say, angels watch over them, protect them. That's all you've got to say. God watch over them, or Jesus watch over them, or I bless this bed that my child lies upon, or this cot that my child lies upon, in the name of Jesus Christ our Lord. Whatever it is, or even if you're not a Christian, whatever your faith, pray that even as you're making that bed, pray that it's blessed, because there is a closer bond and a stronger connection to heaven and angels that you're setting around that child. I actually have a video where it was set up in my daughter's room, because she gets a lot of activity, and she said that she wanted to have the camera in there because she was being annoyed when she was trying to sleep. And I thought it was a bit weird, you know, like I said, well, it's not going to be, you know, live or anything like that. She said, no, I just want you to watch and make sure that, you know, I'm okay and I'm protected. And I thought, well, that's a bit weird. And that's why I started to do more praying in that respect of, you know, asking my loved ones, asking those that have passed over to watch over my daughter, protect her and everything. So what I might do, I'll try and bring it up so you can actually have a look at it. Now, they do come so quickly. I've had to actually circle where they were visiting, because you can actually see their faces and everything like that beginning to, like, because they're walking up, they're just like one after the other watching over my daughter, and you can see the image and the energy forming next to her bed. So I'll just move that over. Now I'll just explain who is who. So if you look in that circle, alright, so here you can actually see, this is my grandfather. That's the side of his face. He's actually looking down on my daughter who's asleep here. So that's the side, that's his side profile. He's standing there watching. Okay, now as you can see, there's more of a form here that seems to be merging into this area. So it's right beside my daughter's bed. But if you have a look here, you'll see actually the face. Because this is where this spirit, they do actually begin to manifest from the floor up. They don't just sort of like come down. You know, if they begin to manifest themselves, then it's from the floor up. But you'll see the energy changing. Okay, I just went past there. Okay, so here, this is my grandmother. You can actually see the side of her face. She's looking down. And at one point, a few actually stand over on this side as well. But I'll just let it run so you can see. Now she's turning. There's another face. So I'll just let this play. And this is how quickly they come to visit us. I've got a lot of relatives on the other side. Now there's one of her angels, as you can see. They are right over the top of her. Okay, so now you can see here, see the hands here, the arm bent, the shoulder, the head. That's my son. So he's standing here. That's his head. That's his shoulder, his arm. And this is where he likes to have people close to him. So there's actually my mother standing behind him, but you can't see her yet. Okay, now my mother begins to come into view. You can start seeing the energy forming here. And many of you, believe it or not, you would be having the same types of visitations. See the energy? Okay, that was my mother face on. I'll just sort of like move that over a bit. Oh, this doesn't matter. I'll just keep playing it. See sideways? Just go. I think I've kind of skipped over it. There. Okay, so here you can see part of her face. Here, there's her eyes, her nose. Not a very flattering picture of her. Okay, here's another one coming forward. You can see their head, their shoulders. See the glow? That's the glow they give off. Well, in the dreams, I just want to show you something. I don't know whether you saw the blue dot. Alright, you see that blue dot appearing? That's energy. That's an energy orb. Some of our loved ones will appear as energy orbs where they are just like lights. So you know when you get those little flickering lights on the side of where you're looking, that type of thing? Well, that would be our spirit of loved ones coming through. And color doesn't mean anything, it just means the energy around. So there's lots of energy there, as you can see. So is this when they visit us in our dreams? Well, yes and no. Usually they enter our subconscious, and if we are having an out-of-body experience, we can actually be in a place similar to, say for example, we might have a dream that we're in a place which is familiar to both of us, or it may be something else. Now you can see different colors around here as well beginning to form, but the blue is very, very strong. Look at that. That blue just then was them manifesting. They give off their own light. See there? You can see the face here, the hair. Just mainly the face and the head. So that's the face and that's the hair. So when they actually have like visitations in our dreams, we're usually having an out-of-body experience, especially when we have cases where we're hugging them and we can actually feel the texture of their clothing and stuff like that. Like I had a case where my grandfather visited me, and there's another one. Oh, I didn't pause it. There was a case that my grandfather visited me, and it took him years, nearly 12 years, to come and visit. And I said to him in my visitation dream, I said, why have you taken so long to come and see me? And he didn't say anything. He just, you know, looked at me like, you saw me. You really acknowledged me. And because he was one of the skeptic family, of course. But anyway, he also visited at the same time my aunt, and she had what she thought was just a dream. I messaged them telling both of them that I saw Pa, which is what I used to call my grandfather, and he basically had shown up in my aunt's dream, and she said, oh my god, I was only telling Craig, which is her son, that I had a dream of Dad. And I said, well, it wasn't a dream, it was a visitation. And this is a aunt who was very, very skeptical, you know, like she couldn't believe it. So there you go. As you can see they're just, there's another one. I don't know whether you saw their head and shoulders. You won't have a full manifestation all the time. You'll have a partial manifestation. So you can see them standing there. See, there's another one, all watching over her. A lot of protection. There's two there. They look like cousins. Okay, let me just take you back here. Alright, now see here, you can see the illumination. That's the head. This is all the illumination of the body. It's all energy. And you'll start to see so do like a quick now as they're, it's like a morphing kind of thing, because they're stepping forward, the other one's leaving. It sometimes does look quite scary, but it's not scary at all. It's because of the fact that as they're moving, the other one's stepping forward. So there's like a queue, a whole queue of angels and loved ones coming to visit. And this is nightly. This is like every single night they all come to visit her. So as you can see, she's having a peaceful sleep. She's not tossing and turning. There's another one. I don't know whether you saw the young girl that looked like Eunice, my grandmother's. See, they're actually with their hands together, and their heads down, but that's their hands like they're praying. Let me try and find Eunice. There, so you can see her more. So there's her head, there's her arms. She's actually wearing like a very wide type of skirt. There's her arm here. I'm sure that's Eunice. She actually passed when she was little. She had pneumonia as a young girl, and that was my grandmother's sister. So that's her. She's got her hands together and her hair's long. You can see there. There's her skirt. So there's a top of her head here, and her head's in here, like her face is in here. Behind here is the male, which would be my grandmother's younger brother. He also passed of pneumonia. Now that's my finger. I'm just pointing to that area because that's before I actually had that circle put around there, because I was actually indicating. There's another one you can see. Face. They're leaning over, looking at her. See the energy. See it's bending over, looking at her. I'll just go back a bit. So you can see like they've got their head cover. You can see the side of her face. That looks like one of those floral hats, and there's her hair. So it's the side of her face looking over. So I'm just doing a stop start. She's more turned to the side now. You can see the eyes, not so much of the rest of the features. But she's moving back. See, she's smiling. Okay, now she's turned. That's how quickly. Okay, that's them merging, like beginning to form. Okay, so you can see the male here. This actually looks like Albert because he's actually got the moustache and the dark hair, as you can see here. Albert is the office spirit. You might remember Albert in the ITC session where he appeared with his moustache and everything. Hi Corinne. Here's another one. This one looks more not related. This one seems to be more like just a spirit, possibly some type of angel. And now when you've got the purple, like the purples and blues and everything like that, that's pure energy. That's spirit that's beginning to try and manifest, but not completely manifesting. Now if you have a look here, there's actually a face in there, and they've got like a cloth. In the olden days, apparently with my family, when they were beginning to bury their loved ones, they actually wrapped them with a like a shroud type of thing over them. He's looking at the camera. That was a good one. It's a bit clearer, that one. So as you can see here, there's the eye, there's the nose, the face, the ear, the hair. Look at the hair. Like a Marge Simpson hairdo. So that's the side of their face, their cheek, their nose. There's a good one. I know whether you just saw them. I was standing there. There's the face. Some of the different colours that they manifest are absolutely beautiful, and it really doesn't do any justice on here. Look at the energy here. I know whether you can see this one standing there. Yes, energy, that's right. see that bright light? That was actually when they come closer. So I don't know whether you can see there, there's actually a face. So see the eyes, the nose, the mouth. When they come up close to like anything electrical, they tend to give off more of a burst of energy. So every single one of you and every one of your family would have these visitations nightly. Not from my family, of course, but your own. And angels. And the more that you pray, the more closer you will have them. So as you can see, there's ones forming here that you can actually see manifesting. Some of them I clearly recognize that they're ones that, I mean, because we're right outside her doorway is the short hall, and I see a lot of them, a lot of times just walking by, walking past, walking up and down the hall, going into her room, coming into my room. And this is about 2 a.m. in the morning, and it usually goes for about 2 hours. So we've got a lot of relatives on the other side. I think it's when it starts to sort of like die down, there's not too many there. Just very faint. Because once they've all like had, you know, they watched over and just made sure she's alright, then they all go. So you can see there's not much here now, because they're like at the end of the line type of thing. So there you go. So that's what happens when you're sleeping. You have your visits from loved ones and so on. So I'm just going to go and back to our Facebook page. So I hope you enjoyed that. Gave you a bit of an idea of the visits we get. It looks like a lot of people have dropped off now. Let's see how many jump back on now that I'm going to do the question answers. So all right, now if you have a question, pop your question down and I will do a reply on that. So that way I'm not just spending a lot of time doing like a general reading or anything like that, because, you know, time is important as well. So if you've got a question that you want me to answer, just write it down. Don't make it like a novel. Keep it simple, and then I will give you a reply. Okay, Pauline Hennessy says, will my move to Tassie go as planned? So Spirit, can you tell me, will Pauline Hennessy's move to Tasmania go as planned? they're telling me yes. You will be having like a housewarming as around that too. I'm not sure whether the 4 weeks means anything to you or 4, because I'm actually getting 4. Okay, that was awesome video of what happens while we sleep. Just wondering if Dad is okay and if he has visited me yet. Okay, so Francois Jackie. For some reason I don't feel like that's your name. I don't know why. Sorry. This person, are they male, female? Alright. Francois Jackie wants to know if her dad is okay and if he has visited her yet. Okay. I'm not sure whether there is some type of resolution that has to happen within the family in some way. No more questions yet, everybody. Just let me get through this one, because I'm actually getting what appears to be like a disagreement, but I'm not saying this is with you. I don't know whether this is with somebody else in the family, or someone that is blocking them, perhaps. I have no idea, but I'm actually getting that there is a maybe around that, but so my new house will be finished 4 weeks. Oh, good. Well, there we go, 4 weeks. I feel as though he is soul searching. I feel that with your father, he is basically either like soul searching as in finding his peace, finding his connection with his faith and stuff like that. He's experiencing, I just get this feeling like he's experiencing a lot of new things that are opening his eyes, if that makes sense to you. So it could be that he's making peace with someone he had a falling out with, or you know, there is someone around you that may be blocking him in some form. So I'll leave that with you. I hope that makes sense to you, but I actually feel like at the moment he's busy trying to reconnect with others on the other side. Okay, so I do feel that he's very close anyway, because I'm just getting this image of a bond in some form, but you might have been more visited, not so much in a dream state, but I'm actually getting more of a connection of just feeling that they're there, like that you're not alone, if that makes sense. So if you've been going somewhere, or you've been, you know, like out of the blue thinking of him, that's usually when they're around. So when you begin to suddenly think of somebody who's on the other side, that's their way of letting you know that they're around you. Okay, how is William? Can you be a little bit more specific, Maggie? I don't play guessing games, sorry. Unless you're talking about William Terrell. I'm answering, at the moment I'm asking you to ask me questions relating to you. So if you wouldn't mind keeping to the topic. Raywin says, what does the future hold for my love life? Should I wait for him or move on? Okay, so Raywin Bristow wants to know, should she wait for him, whoever him is, or move on? All right, so no, I don't feel that you should wait for him. I'm actually getting I'm getting this feeling like there needs to be other focus on things around you, Raywin. He, or whoever he is, certainly doesn't seem to be one that would be completing the picture, if you know what I mean. I just feel like that's something that you need to put behind you here and definitely move on. I'm glad that makes sense to you, Francois. Romana Rohead, Is my nonna I feel around me? Is it my nonna I feel, sorry, I'm not up to these. Is it my nonna I feel around me? Is that a male? I don't know what does that word mean? Is that a name, or is that a, because I'm getting male for some reason. Now normally, unless I'm actually there, or unless they contact me or talk to me, I can't say for a fact that it is. But for some reason, as I'm reading this, I keep hearing what sounds like a male's voice around me. So can you just clarify, is nonna a male? Okay, so do you mind if I ask, because I'm hearing a male as I'm talking, and that's why I said, is that a male? Because I'm hearing more of a male talking around me as I'm speaking your name. And so it could very much be a case of not your nonna, but a male. I'm going to ask Spirit, is this a grandfather? They visit. So I'm actually getting a grandfather visiting. That's what I'm getting. I'm getting a male. I'm definitely getting male. I'm not saying that she doesn't, but I'm feeling at the moment there's more of a male. So surprise. So I don't know whether that makes sense to you, Romana, but I'm hearing a male and he's telling me he's visiting you, and I'm getting more of a person that is like the grandfather figure, because they're obviously, their voice is very pronounced. I'm not getting a very tall person either. In my mind, I'm just seeing what looks like a shorter character, very excitable. So I don't know who that would be for you. Any other questions? Waiting. What we could do, if you're interested, is after, I can just do a little very quick spirit box session. See if whoever is around you would actually be able to come through and talk. If they want to, that is. Can't force them. Okay, hurry up if anyone's got any questions. Okay. Do you know who the male would be, Raywin? They seem so excited. All right, no more questions? All right, let's just move on. Oh, we'll get this. Okay. I think we've had some really good replies coming through the spirit box lately. I mean, pardon what? Too many for here. Oh, too many questions for here. Okay, got it. I don't know what you mean. What are you pardoning? The male I asked for is my son's father. No, I was referring, hang on. Where are we? Bear with me for a moment. Romana Rowhead was asking, is it my nonna I feel around me? And I replied that I actually feel a male around me. So you're asking, your question was, Raywin, about should I wait for him or move on? And I got no, don't wait for him. So that question regarding the male was not for you, Raywin. It was actually for Pauline. Hang on, is it Pauline? Romana Rowhead, sorry. So Romana Rowhead was asking, you have to listen. You've got to listen to, because I am repeating what question is being asked to me, and I'm giving a reply. So no, I would have said your name. I might have said Raywin, thinking I'm hopeless with names. Give me a date of birth and I'll be fine. But no, I'm not saying give me a date of birth. I'm just saying numbers I'm fine with, but names, forget it. So Romana, do you understand who that male would be? Because I'm actually getting what is like a grandfather figure. Not sure who it would be. I just feel love. Well, that's good. That's a positive energy. But I actually, sorry about that, Raywin. Over the head. But this was actually for Romana. So I feel that this person, I'll describe the personality, very energetic, excitable, talkative, and I'm not getting very tall, so I don't know who that male is to you, but they're not young. I'll just say that much. They're not a young person. So sorry, I thought you said, oh no, that's the same question. All right, so what we're going to do is see if he will talk through this. So the spirit that's around me at the moment that was talking, you're welcome to come through and talk through this if you wish to. Especially if you're the one that was talking as I was talking or replying to Romana Rowhead. So if you can, I'm just turning this on. Can you talk through this and say hello? I'll hold it near the mic so you can actually... Okay. Spirit, are you here? You still here with me? The male that was talking, I'll just put this so you can see. The male who is talking, can you please speak through this? All right, let me try. Okay, is that better? Is that better? Is that better? Is that yes? Is that better? Can you hear me? Do I have spirits that are present and not present? What's your name? Okay. Are you connected to Romana Rowhead? Are you connected to Romana Rowhead? Who is around Romana Rowhead? What spirit is around Romana Rowhead? Are you the male that was talking? Were you the male who was talking when I was asking about Romana? Can I get a yes or a no? Yes, okay. Alright. Do you have anything to say to Romana? Talk through this. Do you have anything to say to Romana? Who are you linked to? Are you the excited male? Are you happy? Are you happy? Yes? Yes, I hear you. But if you talk through this, maybe everyone else will too. Can you talk through this? How are you? You're good? My name's Karen. Can you say my name? Can you say my name? You're good? Thank you. What is it like in the new world? Is it good? Do you have any names you want to say hello to in our live chat? Anyone there that you recognize that you want to say hello to? Just say their name aloud. Can you say their names? Anyone you recognize? Any names you recognize? Which one? What was that name? What was the name? Can you repeat that? Yeah, it'll be a little bit clearer. Who do you recognize in our chat room? I'm going through, sliding back to show you the names. Who do you recognize? Who? Did you say Kim? Is there anybody you want to say hello to? Lorraine? I don't think I saw a Lorraine. Someone's friend? Okay. So I've got a male who's saying they want to say hello to Lorraine. I can't see any Lorraine in our chat. Is there someone who knows Lorraine who has lost a male? Okay. All right, Denise Smith wants to know, is her mother around? Is Denise Smith's mother around? If Denise's mother is around, Denise Smith, can you please say your name? If Denise Smith's mother is around, or if she's able to communicate externally through this, can you say your name, please? There was, I think, a Daniel. There was someone asking for a Lorraine. Yes? Were you the one asking for Lorraine? Can you tell me, Spirit, is Denise Smith's mother around?
No.
Where is she? Where is Denise Smith's mother? All right, Ruth Brissett. She's asking if Daniel is here. Are you Daniel? Are you Daniel? Can you say your name if you are? Can you say Daniel? All right. Can you talk through this? All right. I've got someone around me at the moment. It's a female. She's telling me that she had a lung problem, something to do with her lungs. I don't know whether it's, are you referring to breathing problems? So it was like pneumonia or an infection in your lungs. You don't want to say your name? You don't need to? Are they in the chat room or are they just watching? Okay, she thinks they're watching. Okay, well, we'll soon find out. Pauline Hennessy wants to say a quick hello to Nanny Jean and Poppy Jack. Is Nanny Jean and Poppy Jack able to send a hello back? Are you Pauline's Nanny and Poppy? If you are, can you say hello? Can you say your name? Did she have a lung infection at all, Denise? Any of my grandparents there, Louise Webster or Meta Webster? Raywin Bristow wants to know, is Louise Webster or Meta Webster there? So they're referring to having having to have their lung drained or something. I don't know what they're going on about. Were you on antibiotics before? So you were in the hospital. All right. So they're saying the main thing was the trouble and the pains from the lungs. Do you understand that? Is there any chance you might be able to use this to talk through instead of talking directly to me? And then, okay, so I don't know whether you just heard her then. She said the breathing as well. Could you repeat that, or can you talk through this? If you talk, yes, I can hear you. All right, spirits, if you're here, yes, if you're here or if you're able to communicate from wherever you are. All right. So, are you referring to Denise? Can you talk through this and say yes or no if you're referring to Denise is why you're here? All right. Do you have a message for Denise? Do you have a message for Denise? Try using this so she can hear you. Oh, her energy, if this is, they said flow. If this is your mother, then the energy is incredible. Would she had passed in the last 5 years, because she is actually a very strong energy, and I usually get that when they're like within the past 5 years of. Okay. All right, Paul, can you come and talk through this? I've got a Paul here. Paul, who are you connected with? Okay, so she is a new soul. Okay. So she's, obviously, that's why she's such a strong energy, because she's so new. Was there some discussion or disagreement around flowers or arrangements? Because she's saying it was fine, everything was just fine. I don't know why you've made, like, you know, like got into such a debate over things. So it was something to do with arrangement or flowers or something. I say arrangement as flowers. She's saying arrangement. Your light? Okay. So she's referring to the light. Did you see the light? What did you think of the light? Spirit. You can talk through this, and then that way they can hear you. It's not that easy for you? Not very technical. Okay. She said, I'm not very technical. When what? What are you talking about, Marie? If you're going to ask a question, just put the question, not just one word. I'm not a mind reader. Oh, okay. Well, Denise just said September. So I'm assuming that was last September. Is that correct, Denise? That's okay, Rowan. Thank you for joining. Okay. I don't know what you mean by when then. If you're going to have a discussion, we're all going to read the discussion, so that way we can be clear on what you're saying. Not a science rocket. You mean rocket science? All right. Yes. Who are you here for? Is this you, Paul, talking through this now? Yes or no? Yes. Thank you. Is it easy to use? Are you finding this easy? It's okay? All right. Do you have anything you want to pass on? Oh, okay. Did you do something to your hair? Oh, yes. It'll be going dark again, trust me. I have to lighten it first before I can do my dark. But thank you. It's not going to stay this way. All right, any other questions? Not you. Oh my God. What are you doing? Come up and sit with Mummy. Sit up here with Mummy. Up. Sit up. There, good boy. All right. Who likes my dog? Who likes my Momo? He's a good boy for Mummy. Who likes my Momo? All right, I've got a Teresa here. Is your name Teresa, or are you asking for Teresa? That's your name. Oh, you can come in. I've got a few people. Karina Kelly says, any messages for me? Are there any messages for Karina Kelly? Yes, I know you're a spirit. You're doing really well. You're doing really well talking through this, the ones that can. Are there any messages for Karina Kelly from anybody? Teresa, are you here for anyone in particular? You're not sure if they're on? Okay. Well, I'll scroll through this and you can have a look. Any names there that you know? Who? Your name just, your voice just came through here. Try it again, whatever you did. Can you send your voice through this again? I don't know how they do that. This is what amazes me with the spirit box. I mean, I can be hearing them and then their voice comes through. It's amazing. All right. Flo Kelly. Are you here? Okay. Well, you were quick to react then. All right. Well, you heard her say yes, Karen. So, Flo, were you the one talking before? All the time. Are you around me quite a few times, just out of curiosity? Is she around Is she around your mummy? Hey? Who's here? Just say your names through this if you can. What did you say? Is there anyone here for... Oh, good night, Brooke. Sorry, good night, Pauline. Brooke Leanne says, are there any messages for me from anybody, please? Brooke Leanne. What? Who knows Brooke Leanne? Spirit. Okay. Who knows Brooke Leanne? Okay. All right. One at a time, please. All right. I'm going to say out your names. All right. So I've got a Patricia here. Teresa. Sorry, Therese. Hello. Paul. What's your name? Wayne. Roy. What's your name? Sorry. Sorry, this is distracting me. What was your name? Alex. Alright, your name? Who? You need to talk louder, I can't hear you. You're Paul too. There's two, okay. Alright, so there's two Pauls. Is anybody in our chat tonight that knows any of these names I have just sung out? I can't guarantee you that they're on chat. It's like showing me 5 people watching, so I don't know whether, I mean, one of them might be me. So, well, you're going to have to tell me if they're there. You're here. All right. So who said they're next? What's your name? Crystal Elizabeth Mothers says, hi, Spirit. Can you say hi back through this? Can you say hi? Trying to get them to talk through this. Spirit, yes. You don't have to keep saying spirit. I know you're a spirit. I just need you to say who you want to say hello to. Grant? Or did you say Grant or Greg? Can you please talk through this? Okay, does anybody in our chat know these people? Is Roy a spirit or not? Yes, Roy is a spirit. Roy is a spirit. I was asking their names and he said Roy. That is your name? Yes. Okay, so, okay, there's a Ted. Roy is actually a spirit. Ted, who are you connected with? Any messages for Marie Stiles? Okay, who's a female? Are you connected to Marie Stiles? Sorry? What's your name? Richard, hi. Are you connected to Marie Stiles, Richard? Are there any questions that anybody has? Richard, who are you connected with? Sorry about that, Brooke. Okay, Stephen. Oh my goodness. Alright, how many spirits are coming through, like combined? How many spirits are here as well as coming through externally? $12. Nigel, hi, how are you? Anne, someone's calling out to Anne. Do we have an Anne in our chat or connected to someone in our chat? We've got a male talking. Any messages for Mandy Cole? What was your name? Doug? Oh my God. As soon as I open up connection, then I'm getting them coming through here. I'm getting them coming in here. Jasmine Webb. Any messages for Jasmine Webb? Mandy Coles. Anybody? Marie Stiles. Any messages for Marie Stiles? Any messages for Brooke Leanne? Karina Kelly. I'm hearing Mother. Does any of one of these people in the live chat that I've just called out, are you asking for your mother? I've just gone through a few lists of names and I just heard Mother. Did that come through this as well? So I'm getting disorientated. You're coming through this as well? Okay. Yeah, I hear you very softly. You're doing well if you're doing this. Your mother. Okay, Glenn. Okay, so your mother. Can you please, just as a way of clarifying, if you're Glenn Wilmot's mother, can you say when you passed, what month it was? Sorry? What was the month that you left this world? Okay, so there's quite a few. Okay, anyone's mum called Viv? I'd say that's short for Vivian or something. I'm hearing Dad. That doesn't help. There's a million people out there called Mum and a lot of people called Dad on the other side. All right. I've got Margaret. All right, so the ones that are mums, can you say your names? Viv, Margaret, Teresa. Sorry, I keep saying Teresa, it's Therese. You're a mother. Okay. Joe, female called Joe. Okay, someone just yelled out Angela in the background. So we've got a few coming through. Oh, Angela's a grandmother. Congratulations. Well, that would make you a mother, obviously, to be getting to that level. So Mandy Coles, is that Margaret? Margaret, are you there for Mandy? Brooke, someone's saying Brooke. Okay. Are you Margaret, who's Mandy Cole's mother? It's me, it's me. Can you talk through this and say it? Margaret, come over and talk through this. Talk through this. Just say what you just said to me. Okay, all external spirits, don't talk, let Margaret talk. So they don't talk. Margaret, can you say what you said to me? Say what you said to me through this. There's other ones starting to talk again. Can you talk through this? She's very illuminate. I can just see your silhouette. Very, very bright. Are you there? Did you hear that? That was Margaret. No, she's on here. So she said, are you there? Oh dear. Are you happy, Margaret? Are you happy? No, not you people. Margaret. Margaret, are you happy? Talk through this. Yes. Okay, well, we got you saying yes. So hopefully Mandy heard you. Did you hear her, Mandy? Hopefully Mandy's still listening. All right, so there was one that said Brooke before. Brooke. Who was after Brooke? Who was wanting to contact Brooke? Okay, so it doesn't look like Mandy's on. Would you believe it? Who was calling out to Brooke? Who was calling out to Brooke? I'll let you listen to something. You hear the snoring? My dog snoring. Oh gosh. All these sound effects. When I do a reading, I say to them there's no extra for the sound effects. It's all complimentary. Okay. So, Mandy, it seemed as though Margaret did talk and you're not there. Alright. So this is why some of them will hesitate, because 1 minute there'll be a loved one who is on there watching or listening, and next minute they're not there. So it's like, why do I bother? Okay. Everyone's gone quiet. Where? Okay. Where have they gone? Footy? I don't think so in this weather. That was Chris. Okay. So, if Glenn Wilmot's mother is around or able to communicate, can you say what month you left this world, please? I need some validation. What month did Glenn Wilmot's mother leave this world? I think they're going. Glenn Wilmot's mother. Are you present? Are you able to communicate? Oh, good. Oh no, it went flat. Oh, well, she came through. She did really well. She really did well. It took a lot of her energy just to be able to communicate. All right. I need to know who is here for where are we? Brooke Leanne. Brooke Leanne. Who's here for Brooke Leanne? Yes, I hear you. Who's here for Brooke Leanne? Sorry, I've done Brooke. Jasmine Webb. Is there anyone for Jasmine Webb? Phyllis? I don't know whether Phyllis is for... Who are you here for, Phyllis? Who are you here for? Me. What's your surname? Teresa. Okay. Okay. I think I've got a personal message. So Teresa's my sister, my stepsister. Phyllis, are you her mother? Because I just heard Phyllis, then Teresa. We want Dad. So are you trying to tell me that my stepfather is passing away? Is that what you're telling me? Can you say his name? They said it. Alright, well, I'll have to keep everybody up to date. No. No, that was Phyllis saying Teresa. You listen back to it. So just to clarify, you're telling me, Phyllis, that my stepfather's going to pass on. Is that what you're telling me? He's already had a couple of heart attacks. Another one, another funeral I've got to arrange. You get used to them in my family. Okay, Phyllis. Now, if they say John, I'll know this is who. Phyllis, what is your son's name? What's your son's name? Say it through here. Because this is an external spirit. They're communicating through this. What's your son's name, Phyllis? Because sometimes it could be spirits messing with you. What is your son's name, Phyllis? What's your son's name? You've got Teresa and... Teresa and... I want you to talk through here. I think she might have gone. I think she's given the message and she's gone. I've never met the woman. I've never met her. Well, that was a bit of a... It wasn't long his birthday either. So... Ooh, it's not something that I think he would take too lightly, because when his mother was passing away, she actually said to my mother, "I'll see you soon," and about 4 months later my mother passed. So, and it was like on her deathbed she said, "I'll see you soon, dear," and Mum thought it was for her son, my dad, my stepdad, and it would ended up being my mother. So when they do have that final last moments and everything, they actually do get told a lot of things from the other side. So yeah, it is a bit hard to take. It's not something you want to hear, especially in a live stream. But it is part of life. At the end of the day, it is part of life. All right, Spirit. Do you have anything else to say before I close off? Kudos. I say kudos. Oh, I don't like those warnings, Mandy, because there's nothing that I can really do about it. Not on those things anyway. They're not exactly, you know, you can go saying to the family, "Oh, he's gonna die." But it's very typical for me. I've had my uncle, my great uncle, he turned up one night and he was just smiling at me. And I said, "I know you," because I hadn't seen this one since I was about 4. And he said, "Well, you should. I'm your Uncle Bill." And I said, "What are you doing here?" He said, "I'm just waiting to take someone over." And so I actually spoke to my aunt, and she said, well, his son, his only son, Roddy, is actually dying. And he waited a whole month for Roddy to pass over. So he was doing the rounds. He was actually seeing everybody. So, all right. Well, Spirit, I'm going to turn this off now. Do you want to say goodbye? Can you say goodbye? Can you say goodbye? If there's anybody there who wants to communicate still, just say goodbye. Yeah, that's all I can do. That's all I can do. Okay. All right. Thank you, Spirit. Bye-bye. Okay, so I'll turn that off. That was so weird. Of all the people to come through, I don't even know her personally. My stepbrother and stepsister, John and Teresa, they lost their mother quite a few years ago. Well, not that many years ago. Mum's been over since 2006. Exactly 1 year to the day my daughter was born. So there you go. So yeah, for her to come through, and it was so clear, Phyllis, and then Teresa, and what was it? We want Dad, or we want Dad. And I said, who? What's his name? And he said, Bill. So it'll be very interesting. So weird. I might even have to like save that bit. I might share it with my aunt and see what she thinks, because there's nothing that I can really, there's nothing I can do. Anyway, well, I hope you've all enjoyed tonight's live stream. I hope that it gave you a little bit more food for thought, especially in regards of the babies and children that pass over. The important thing is, as I showed you that video, just, you know, you don't have to, I mean, if you're not overly religious, you don't have to convert and suddenly become a religious fanatic. The important thing is just, even if you just quietly say, as you're tucking your child into bed or sending them off to bed, just say, you know, God protect them as they sleep. You know, loved ones watch over them as they sleep, because this way you don't know what can happen. I mean, many people, and this is a reality, many actual deaths actually occur between 3 and 4 a.m. So you're welcome. I'm glad that there were some of you that actually had some people come through. I was impressed, I must say, at the effort that some of them made, the ones that were actually coming through present. So there you go. They come through, and then there were ones that were external coming through. I thought it was really lovely. And I'll tell you something else too. The amount of love that was emitting from these souls, it was very peaceful, very calming. They were quite excited. So who knows? They know more than we do. So it may very well be that some of those souls were here because they knew in some form their loved one was going to see this video. So what's that? Thank you so much. Rewatching, my net dropped out. Oh no, don't talk about the internet. And I actually noticed, Naomi, if you're watching, I saw that you wrote what I said not to put up. You cunning little bugger. So I might have to dock your wages. No, I wouldn't do that. But yeah, so I had a terrible issue with my internet, and then the other day, finally I start to sort of get the internet going a little bit, just long enough to sort of, you know, get online and send over to the main server the readings that I had done. And of course, my phone, when I go to ring somebody, it was crackling. I thought, oh, can you believe it? So then I had to get the technician out in regards of, you know, having them work on the phone line. So I had to use my mobile just to make phone calls, and you know how expensive it is on mobiles. But anyway, those are the hours my toddler wakes up or refuses to sleep until. Well, that is a really common hour with many that pass away. So a lot of people will wake up around that time, not just toddlers, but a lot of, you know, adults as well. I get a lot of disturbance at that time. So I may be awake when it happens. I want to be asleep when I go. But from what Spirit have told me, and many spirits have actually told me this, and this is something I don't know whether you're familiar with, or those of you who have lost somebody like a husband or wife, They've actually said to me that they were, they were waking at the time they were leaving their body. So it's not just that you're in a deep sleep, you're actually alert, you're beginning to wake up, and then you actually have that exit, so to speak. But in cases where they begin to lose the desire to eat and everything, that's usually because the spirit is slowly leaving the body, and as the spirit becomes out of alignment, the throat is more up here. So that feeling of not wanting anything to eat is very common with those whose souls are leaving their body a lot fast, like not faster, but they're progressively leaving the body. So when they begin to stop talking, their larynx is spiritually out of alignment, and so is their stomach. So technically, it looks like, if I'm to sort of give you a diagram, I might as well while I've got a little bit of time. I'm going to draw a stick person. There's my stick person. Okay, so as the spirit begins to leave the body, it actually exits through the top of the crown. And it's funny because it's not funny, but I have actually walked in rooms where people are passing away, and they could be asleep, and above them is their head, their spirit head. It's sort of like a head on top of a head, if that makes sense to you. And then as they begin to leave their body, you can actually see it. It's amazing. It looks like almost like a spider web in a form of some sort, but that could be like, say, the body there sleeping, and then you'll start to see the body rising up out of the actual top of the head. Where are we on this diagram? So they actually rise up like that. It's amazing. The lady that was in a bed or in a room beside my grandmother, I went in there one day to see how she was going, and she was sound asleep, but she was like, her spirit head was facing me smiling. And then later, the next day when I went in to see my grandmother, I sort of dropped by, had a peek in her room, and I could see her spirit standing at her window saying, "I'm free, I'm free." So I said to my grandmother, "Oh, she's passed away." And she said, "Yeah, she passed away this morning." And she said, "You were right, And I said, "Well, I saw her leaving her body, but she said, I didn't expect it to happen just like that." And I said, "Well, she was already halfway out." And it is amazing. It really is. So what's this, Mandy Coles? My mum came back. She scared me. She had left and then took a massive breath in, looked at me square in the face as if she was saying, "Don't you cry." And she held on for a further 20 minutes before she passed. I felt her go and the energy she had as she went. So the energy is incredible. It really is an incredible, strong energy. See, people tend to think that, people are weak when they die. They're not. Their body's weak, but the spirit, oh my God, it makes up for the weakness that the body feels. So the amount of energy that spirits say they have, it's sort of like finally they feel strong, they feel healthy, they feel vibrant, they feel so much love, they feel they can connect with everybody in such a way that they never thought possible. There are times where ones have actually said to me that they didn't realize how sad their family were, and this was not to do with their passing, but overall. And they didn't notice that until they actually left this world. So, try to, make as much peace as you can with people while they're here. Try to be happy. I know that sounds weird, even those that, are in their final days and so on. Just talk normal. Don't pretend like they're anything different just because they're leaving this world. Talk about what's happening in the world. Give them that feeling like, you know, if there's war going on, don't avoid telling them any bad news, because they want to still feel a part of things. So, you know, if there's something that's happening in the world or in the family, don't shut them out, because they're going to find out anyway. Better now than never. What's this? I think that's why she came back. She saw me break down. I'm sure she waited for me to gather myself before she passed, and they will probably, you know, hold on. That's like some, you know, like you think about, and I know there's no comparison, but I'm trying to use an example. There are some people who can actually, and animals can actually hold up a birth. They can prevent a birth happening. So it's the same as when a spirit passes, or when it begins to leave. It can hold on to that spirit a little longer, either until somebody arrives, or, you know, until they know that everything's going to be okay, and that that person's going to be okay. So they can prolong. Sometimes people can prolong death, purely because they just keep holding on, but the body grows weaker. So as they're trying to hold on, that spirit is trying to release, and that body begins to get weaker and weaker. And this is when people, you know, before they pass, a lot of them go through like a bounce back kind of stage, and then their body sort of starts to break down again. And that's because they're spiritually holding back from passing over. So it's amazing the will of a person to live can withstand trying to prevent that spirit leaving the body, but then they end up with all these ailments and stuff like that on top of whatever they've gone through. So never make a person feel they've got to stay. Yeah, a lot of people will do that too. They'll wait till everyone's gone, or when they're not looking, and when they know they're not looking, that's when the spirit will be released. That's very common. It's like, you know, with cats, they will go away. They will want to be in a place where they're not being disturbed. Cats in particular are very similar in some way to humans, because there are times where many of us don't want anyone to see us go, because they're worried about the way that people will feel or react, or how it will affect them. So they will wait either when a person's not looking, or when they're not noticing. So this is very similar. Cats and people are very much alike in that way. So with cats, they'll go away, and they may actually be like found in a place where you frequent. Like I'll give you an example. My Dutch grandfather, he was I was going to say gardener, but it came out like gangster. He was a gardener, so of course be going to the he was doing like landscaping and stuff like that. So the cat actually laid inside the catcher, so he knew that he would find him in the catcher. So yeah, so if everyone here today who's watching has actually lost someone close to them, just tell them verbally, just say, I release you, I allow you to go on to the new world, and, you know, come back and occasionally visit me. So messages you were getting for somebody. Well, I'm glad that that explains, you know, the way things are with spirit, but just know that they want you to be happy, and they want you to be positive, you know. So don't ever feel that you've got to be a certain way, or the spirit's going to be offended if they see you happy, because some people do that as well. They think if they see me happy, they're going to think I don't care or I don't love them. You'd be surprised. Spirit know your heart better than you do. So on that note, I'm going to get everyone and have you all have a lovely weekend, what's left of it. Stay positive. I'll tell you what, last week's message from Suella was spot on. I mean, for me anyway. Maybe I wasn't meant to pass it on to everyone. Maybe it was just a personal thing. But anyway, I hope you've enjoyed tonight's